heart of Europe, a political earthquake just struck. A nation known for its revolutionary spirit, its unwavering commitment to liberty, equality, and fraternity, now finds itself grappling with an unprecedented crisis. The French government, once a beacon of stability, a cornerstone of the European Union, has collapsed. But this isn't just about a routine vote of no confidence. This is a story far more intricate, far more volatile. It's a tale woven with threads of deep-seated societal divisions, a prime minister's audacious gamble, and the very future of a nation, a major global power, hanging precariously in the balance. The question isn't just what happened, but why it happened, and what terrifying implications it holds for the world. Welcome to Obscura Archives, your go-to source for unraveling the complex narratives that shape our world. Today, we're diving deep into the recent political turmoil that has gripped France, a crisis that culminated in the dramatic ousting of Prime Minister François Bayrou after a mere 9 months in office. For those unfamiliar with the intricacies of French politics, this might seem like a sudden, isolated event. But as we peel back the layers, you'll discover that this isn't a singular incident, but rather the explosive culmination of simmering tensions, strategic miscalculations, and a deeply divided political landscape. What forces conspired to bring about this dramatic downfall? And more importantly, what does this seismic shift mean for France, for the delicate balance of power within the European Union, and for the broader global political stage? Join us as we dissect the anatomy of a government collapse, exploring its causes, consequences, and the uncertain path that lies ahead for one of the world's most influential nations. The final blow came on a tense Monday evening. By a decisive vote of 364 to 194, the French Parliament delivered its verdict. No confidence in the government of Prime Minister François Bayrou. This wasn't just a simple majority, it was a resounding defeat, a clear and unequivocal rejection of his leadership and the direction he was attempting to steer the nation. For those unfamiliar with the nuances of parliamentary systems, a vote of no confidence is more than just a symbolic gesture. It's the ultimate constitutional check on executive power, a mechanism by which the legislative branch can effectively force the resignation of the government. In this case, it signaled a profound breakdown in trust between the executive and the elected representatives of the French people. At the heart of this political drama are two central figures, Prime Minister François Bayrou and President Emmanuel Macron. Bayrou, a seasoned centrist politician with a long career in French public life, was appointed Prime Minister just 9 months prior. His selection by President Macron was widely seen as a strategic, almost desperate move. Macron, who had been grappling with a fragmented political landscape and a series of domestic crises since his re-election, was hoping Bayrou's reputation as a consensus builder could bridge the deep divides within the National Assembly. He envisioned Bayrou as the steady hand capable of navigating complex legislative challenges and pushing through his ambitious reform agenda. However, the political currents proved too strong, and the hope for a stable, unified government under Bayrou's leadership was, as we now know, tragically short-lived. The news of the government's collapse reverberated instantly, sending shockwaves not just through the corridors of power in Paris but across the entire globe. International media outlets scrambled to cover the unfolding crisis, with headlines screaming of a nation in paralysis, a political crisis deepening by the hour. On social media platforms, the reaction was a veritable firestorm of opinions, ranging from outrage and anxiety among those who feared further instability to a sense of grim satisfaction and vindication among the opposition. The immediate aftermath was a period of intense uncertainty, a dangerous vacuum of power. The critical questions loomed large. Would President Macron swiftly appoint a new prime minister, attempting to restore a semblance of order? Or would he take the more drastic and potentially perilous step of dissolving Parliament and calling for snap legislative elections? The only undeniable truth was that France, a nation historically proud of its political resilience, had entered a period of profound instability, with its future hanging precariously in the balance. To truly comprehend how France arrived at this critical juncture, we must delve deeper into the historical and political currents that have been shaping the nation for years. This government collapse was not a sudden, isolated incident. Rather, it was the explosive culmination of long-simmering tensions, strategic miscalculations, and widening cracks in the very foundation of French politics. When Emmanuel Macron first burst onto the political scene in 2017, he did so with a promise of radical transformation, a vision of a new political paradigm that transcended the traditional left-right divide. He was hailed as a youthful, charismatic leader, brimming with bold ideas for modernizing France. However, the initial euphoria of his presidency proved to be fleeting. The real turning point, the moment that irrevocably altered the trajectory of Macron's second term, came with the 2024 legislative elections. His centrist alliance, Ensemble, failed to secure an absolute majority in the National Assembly. This was a devastating blow, stripping Macron of the legislative leverage he had enjoyed in his first term. Suddenly he found himself at the helm of a minority government, forced to navigate a fragmented and often openly hostile parliament. The era of easy legislative victories was over. Every single piece of legislation, every proposed reform transformed into a grueling battle, every vote a precarious tightrope walk. It was within this context of persistent political gridlock and legislative paralysis that President Macron, seeking a way out of the impasse, made the fateful decision to appoint François Bayrou as his prime minister. Bayrou, a political veteran with decades of experience and a reputation as a pragmatic centrist, was initially seen as a potential savior for Macron's parliamentary woes. The strategic calculation was that his long-standing relationships across the political spectrum, coupled with his perceived ability to forge compromises, could help restore a semblance of stability and allow the government to pass crucial legislation. However, Bayrou's appointment was also a significant gamble. He is a politician with his own strong convictions and a history of challenging the status quo, even from within the government. The fundamental question remained, could he truly unite a deeply divided nation, or would he, like so many before him, become another casualty of France's intractable political divisions? His short tenure ultimately provided a stark answer. The immediate catalyst for the no-confidence vote was the government's highly contentious proposed budget bill. France, like many developed nations, is currently grappling with a formidable and ever-expanding national debt, a challenge exacerbated by recent global economic uncertainties and the lingering after-effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Bayrou's government put forward a comprehensive plan designed to rein in public spending and stabilize the nation's finances. However, this plan contained a series of austerity measures that proved to be deeply unpopular with large segments of the population and across the political spectrum. Critics vehemently argued that these measures would disproportionately burden the most vulnerable citizens, while simultaneously failing to address the fundamental, systemic root causes of economic inequality. The debate over this budget bill quickly transcended mere fiscal policy. It transformed into a fierce proxy war for broader ideological clashes, a battleground for competing visions of France's economic and social future. What made this particular no-confidence vote so exceptionally potent, so historically significant, was the unprecedented unity displayed by the opposition. Traditionally, the French political landscape is characterized by a fierce, almost tribal, rivalry between the ideologically distinct left and right wings. However, in this extraordinary instance, both the far left, under the fiery leadership of Jean-Luc Mélenchon, and the far right, spearheaded by Marine Le Pen, found common ground in their shared desire to oust Bayrou's government. This unlikely, almost unthinkable alliance proved to be an unstoppable force. It was driven by a collective frustration with President Macron's perceived arrogance, his top-down approach to governance, and Prime Minister Bayrou's perceived inability to effectively address the nation's pressing concerns. This cross-spectrum collaboration sent a clear and unmistakable signal. The French people, through their elected representatives, were demanding a fundamental change in direction, a radical shift in how the country was being governed. The stage was thus set for a dramatic confrontation, a political showdown that would ultimately lead to the government collapse we witnessed, leaving France and the world to ponder the profound implications. To fully grasp the gravity of this government collapse, it's crucial to understand the unique political architecture of France's Fifth Republic. Established in 1958 by Charles de Gaulle, the Fifth Republic was designed to create a stronger, more stable executive branch after a period of parliamentary instability. It introduced a semi-presidential system where power is shared between a directly elected president and a prime minister who is appointed by the president but must command the confidence of the National Assembly. This dual executive structure can lead to periods of cohabitation where the president and prime minister come from opposing political parties, leading to potential gridlock. While the Fifth Republic has generally provided more stability than its predecessors, it is not immune to political crises. History shows us that no-confidence votes, while rare, are not unprecedented. However, the current situation, with a president who has lost his parliamentary majority and a prime minister ousted after such a short tenure, highlights a particularly acute period of political fragility. While successful no-confidence votes are infrequent, they serve as a powerful reminder of the National Assembly's ultimate authority. The last time a French government was brought down by a no-confidence vote was in 1962 under Georges Pompidou. This historical context underscores the significance of Bayreuth's ousting. It's not a common occurrence, and it signals a profound rupture in the political landscape. The current crisis is a testament to the deep divisions that permeate French society and the challenges of governing in an era of heightened political polarization. The very design of the Fifth Republic, intended to prevent such instability, is now being tested to its limits. With the government collapsed, France now faces a political vacuum, a period of intense uncertainty where every decision carries immense weight. The immediate question on everyone's mind is, what happens next? There are several potential scenarios, each with its own set of challenges and implications for the future of France, and indeed for Europe. The most immediate path forward for President Macron is to appoint a new prime minister. But who would that be? The choice is critical. Macron needs someone who can not only command the respect of his own fractured alliance, but also, crucially, garner enough support from opposition parties to pass legislation. This new prime minister would inherit a deeply divided parliament and a nation grappling with economic anxieties and social unrest. Their ability to form a stable government and push through necessary reforms will be severely tested. The challenges are immense: navigating a hostile parliament, addressing the cost of living crisis, and restoring public trust in political institutions. Another, more drastic option for President Macron is to dissolve the National Assembly and call for snap legislative elections. This is a high-stakes gamble. On one hand, it could potentially allow Macron to regain a parliamentary majority if his party performs well. On the other hand, it carries the significant risk of further empowering the opposition, potentially leading to an even more fragmented parliament or, even worse for Macron, a cohabitation scenario where the prime minister comes from a rival party. The political climate is volatile and public sentiment is unpredictable. A snap election could either solidify Macron's power or plunge France into even deeper political chaos. The third, and perhaps most concerning scenario, is continued instability. Even if a new prime minister is appointed without a clear parliamentary majority, the government could remain weak and ineffective. This would lead to legislative paralysis, making it incredibly difficult to pass crucial reforms or address the nation's pressing issues. Such prolonged instability could erode public confidence further, fuel extremist sentiments, and ultimately undermine France's standing on the international stage. A weakened France is not just a problem for the French, it has significant repercussions for the entire European Union. Beyond the immediate political ramifications, the collapse of the French government carries significant economic implications. Political uncertainty often translates into economic instability. Investors may become hesitant, leading to a slowdown in economic growth. The ongoing efforts to tame the ballooning national debt could be derailed, potentially impacting France's credit rating and its ability to borrow on international markets. This, in turn, could have a ripple effect across the Eurozone, given France's position as a major economic power within the European Union. The EU, already grappling with various internal and external challenges, now faces the added burden of political turmoil in one of its core member states. The stability of the Franco-German axis, long considered the engine of European integration, could be tested, potentially impacting the EU's ability to respond effectively to global crises and pursue its strategic objectives. The French government collapse, while unique in its specific circumstances, is not an isolated incident. It reflects a broader, unsettling trend playing out across democracies worldwide. We are witnessing an era of heightened political polarization, where traditional political divides are deepening and the ability of governments to forge consensus and implement effective policies is increasingly challenged. Economic pressures fueled by inflation, rising cost of living, and global supply chain disruptions are exacerbating social discontent and fueling populist movements. Citizens feeling unheard and unrepresented are increasingly taking to the streets, demanding change and accountability from their leaders. Consider the recent events in Nepal, a story we touched upon earlier. The government's attempt to ban social media platforms, ostensibly to maintain public order, ignited a firestorm of protests, particularly among the youth. The ban was eventually lifted, but not before it led to tragic clashes and a significant loss of life. While the context is vastly different, the underlying theme is eerily similar: a government struggling to assert control in the face of widespread public dissent and the power of collective action, particularly among younger generations, to force a change in policy. These events, whether in Paris or Kathmandu, underscore the fragility of democratic institutions when they fail to adapt to the evolving needs and demands of their citizens. The French crisis also serves as a potent reminder of the enduring power of the people. When citizens feel their voices are not being heard through traditional political channels, they will find other avenues to express their discontent. Protests, strikes, and social movements become powerful tools for demanding change and holding leaders accountable. This is a fundamental aspect of democratic societies, but it also presents a challenge for governments to balance the need for stability with the imperative to respond to legitimate public grievances. The events in France are a stark warning. Ignoring the will of the people or attempting to impose unpopular policies without genuine dialogue and compromise can have severe and immediate consequences. So there you have it, the anatomy of a government collapse in the heart of Europe. The ousting of Prime Minister François Bayrou is more than just a political headline. It's a complex tapestry woven from deep-seated societal divisions, strategic political maneuvers, and the enduring power of public discontent. France stands at a crossroads, facing an uncertain future as it grapples with the immediate aftermath of this political earthquake. The story, of course, is far from over. The coming weeks and months will be crucial in determining France's path forward. Will President Macron find a way to restore stability? Will new elections be called? And if so, what will their outcome be? And what lessons can other democracies around the world draw from this unfolding drama? We want to hear from you. What do you think will happen next in France? Do you see parallels with political events in your own country? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments section below. Your perspective is invaluable to this ongoing conversation. If you found this video insightful, if it helped you make sense of a complex global event, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends and family, and subscribe to Obscura Archives for more in-depth analyses of the stories that matter. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.